going on, guys? Chaz Critter. Alright, I want to talk to you a little bit about the collapse RamboPrepper tough guy syndrome. I've seen this more than a handful of times where people think that they are somehow going to have a high probability of survival and possibly even a good life laying down the law with their assault rifle if anything bad ever happens and society comes unraveled. First of all, I don't think that that's realistic in the slightest sense. I think that if we enter a real breakdown crisis, like Warren says, many people will die, regardless of your situation or what you have. A lot of it's going to be based on location. I think that if you're in a city, you need a good plan, and that's James Wesley Rawls, get out of Dodge. You know, it's really unrealistic to think in a highly populated area that you're going to fare well, no matter really what you have, realistically, because if the distribution and the pillars that hold up the very fragile structure in society start to come apart, people are going to go crazy. And I was talking to Corey, and we were talking about, you know, how, like, even the Donner Party, I mean, they were, like, looking around towards the end when people were starving, and they're looking, all right, who are we going to eat next? Who's going to be the next one to go? Who has the lowest chance of probability of survival? And that's just part of society. And, you know, Organic Heat, I guess, has a video out where he's like, come on, guys, you know, we stick together, and that's how we built this society. But again, I don't think it's going to be like if everything breaks down, you're going to throw a neighborhood barbecue and just stand there with an AR-15 or an AK-47 slung over your shoulder and expect to fare very well at all. Who's it? Miami Prepper one. He's an advocate of being the gray man, and I really like this concept. And now let me give you a little bit of background on this, okay? I think a lot of people look at military and it looks cool, right? And, you know, you got all these rounds and full battle gear on, but, you know, you got to remember that these guys are based on unit tactics. Now, I wasn't in the military, but I do know that they have air support that they can call in. They have Humvees, you know, they have APCs, armored personnel carriers, and then a whole bunch of guys backing them up, you know, with strategy. This lone wolf warrior badass, you know, RamboPrepper, like the character off Taken, you know, Liam Neeson, where every single punch he throws kills someone. He kills like 30 people in the whole movie. You know, even though the guy's like, what, in his late 50s. But somehow he just pulls it off and, you know, takes big 15-foot falls and gets up and keeps running. It doesn't happen like that in real life. So the gray man is someone who isn't, they don't look weak. They're not imposing, okay? They're not running around like they're Billy Badass. They're rarely seen, they blend in, and this is going to be the type person in any scenario that you would want to model yourself after. You want to be someone who basically, you know, you might see them, but they don't catch your eye. When they're out in inconspicuous times, inconspicuous places. They're not sneaking around. You know, for the most part, hopefully they've got their supplies and they're just quiet, they keep to themselves. But at the same token, they do have the ability to, you know, pose some serious defense if they have to. And I think that that's your best scenario. That type person in a rural area, hopefully with people around you that are prepared, is going to be, in the event that this happens, of course, the most viable option. So, you know, like talking about inner cities, I mean, you're looking at it now. I was reading a story in Chicago how this guy was on a train and he had his iPhone 4S and dropped it or something like that. And a group of kids that were nearby picked it up, you know, some thuggish kids. And he went to, you know, like, hey, you know, like, give me my phone back. Apparently, they just beat the hell out of him. You're not getting this phone back. Knocked his teeth in. Put him in the hospital, broke his orbital socket. And this guy had no clue, right? No street smarts whatsoever. He's just like, hey, you know, that's my phone. Not anymore, because you couldn't keep it, pal. And this gets back to my thing, like, where, like, a single family household where the dad thinks that they're going to play Mr. Hero. I don't see it happening against a big force. And that and the run and gunner type people, I mean, it's, you know, maybe it's too many video games where you're fantasizing about this stuff. But get back to Miami Prepper, the reason he has this gray man concept, and I really respect a lot of the stuff that he says when he talks on this subject, is because he was a member of the military, but he was a sniper. Okay, now, so this is the difference, okay? Sniper, you're not seen, okay? Number one rule is you never want to give up your position ever, 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 okay? So that's kind of the gray man concept. Versus the Rambo concept, where I want to be seen as tough and as formidable as possible. You know, I hate to tell you, but you got to sleep sometimes. You know, you got to go out sometimes. Do you want to be that target? And this is where I don't necessarily agree with James Wesley Rawls, because he says that you want to be a hard target because people will pick the soft targets. And to a sense, it makes a little bit of sense, right? Like, all right, if you got two houses that are completely unguarded and oblivious, and then you got the one guy who is looking tough, you're going to hit those other houses first. But I have a feeling they're going to make a mental note and come back for you. So again, population, in like I rail on the LA basin. There was an article that came out a while back that said it's one of the 5 worst places in the world to live if you have a dollar collapse, because there's no productivity there whatsoever. All the water, all the food, everything needs to get brought in. And that's just, you know, with what, I think there's 9 million people there right now. 9 million people that turn desperate is like the world's largest standing army. Right there. You got it right there, all in one basin. So, the He-Man warrior thing, you know, I know it looks cool and it's fun to run and gun and do all that stuff, but not survivable, not desirable. You're not going to last long. And I think it's really delusional to think that way. Giving away ammunition, giving away food. You know, that was the other thing that, you know, like, well, Don Harold, he was the guy that was talking about this. Oh, if it all breaks down, you know, you're going to have to help your neighbors. It's going to be the only way. You know, your neighbors are going to be eating some of your food and all this. Not unless they're prepared. I mean, if they're prepared, we can pool resources. I don't have a problem with that. But it's like you feed a cat. You know, you feed one cat and then there's 10 more on your step the next day. And, you know, like an army of hungry people standing outside your front door or at your property because they know you have food is not desirable in the slightest way, shape, or form. People will not starve quietly. You know, like if you come out and you show force and say, no, go away, you're not getting any of my food, they're going to get you one eventually. Eventually, they will catch you slipping. You know, no man is an army. So, yeah, the gray man. Forget the camo, forget all that stuff, and not even have a sidearm outside your clothes. I would say concealed would be the only way to go in that route. And move at night, you know, when people aren't out, when eyes aren't up. You know, don't use flashlights or anything like that. You're not going to want to be cooking food in your house. You're not going to want to have the lights on. Nothing. You just want to be blending into the background. And it's, you know, camouflage, right? Camo is used in a woodland environment, okay, where you're a jungle environment, desert environment, where you're blending into, you know, this type of scenery, right? This stuff over here. You're not blending in if you're wearing camo, you know, on the mean streets of a suburb. You're blending in if, I don't know, maybe you have kind of ratty clothes on. You know, you're not necessarily walking like you got the world on your shoulders. You're just keeping it cool, man. Stay low profile, and I think that's really the best way to go. So I laugh every time I see one of these guys where they make a video and they got like 2 AR-15s, right, one on either side, and a wall full of ammo and handguns, and like, you know, that's cool and all, and it might get you the YouTube views of the gun community, but you know, in real life, you know, you might be able to shoot 2 guns, but if you end up in a firefight, really, that's the worst case scenario. Absolute worst case. And there's another thing that makes me laugh. People will get on and they'll say, well, I got 4,000 rounds of ammunition, man, so, you know, good luck, come and try to take my stuff. You really think that you're gonna fire 4,000 rounds of ammunition in self-defense and live to tell about it? You think you're gonna ram like 100 rounds through your rifle in self-defense and live to tell about it? Not without backup, man. That is straight delusion. There is no respawn in real life, guys. So, I mean, seriously, kind of rethink your prospects and look at it realistically, that the best thing is to de-escalate a situation. No matter what the situation is, if you can de-escalate it without, you know, going to deadly force or anything like that, I think that that's going to be your best option. But the He-Man, Rambo, Prepper, you know, Super Billy Badass, they don't live long in the real world, and for the most part, they don't exist.